Here we have a pre-owned 2019 Infiniti QX60. This one comes in the Luxe trim level with all-wheel drive, and then we also have the Essentials package on this one. And this color is liquid platinum, and we have graphite leather interior. Now the powertrain consists of a 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6 engine, made it to a CVT. That gets us 295 horsepower, 270 pound-feet of torque. And then this one has just a little under 57,000 miles. But love the front end here. We do get high intensity discharge headlamps, LED daytime running lights, and LED fog lights. And just a little bit of wear and tear on the front here. We've run into a few things. Front plate was drilled in. But it really reminds me of those Q60s. It's kind of the point, I guess. But we do get these 18-inch aluminum wheels. And then we have passive keyless entry on the front two doors. Blind spot monitors there. And then we do have memory seating, so to do that, just hit set and then hold the number you want to set it to. We have our power mirror controls here, left side, right side. You can offset them in the middle there, and then to adjust either side, you just use this dial. And you can power fold in the mirrors or fold them out there. And then power door lock controls here, one touch automatic up and down windows on all four doors, rear window lock there. Bottle holder. Now over here we have our heated steering wheel toggle, blind spot monitor toggle, power lift gate toggle, and then the traction control. And then we do have a foot pedal brake, so you can just press that on and off to engage it. And then hood release there. We do get a power tilt telescope steering wheel. And here's our power driver seat with power lumbar support. And the seat seems to have held up pretty nicely over the years. I should say over the miles, because this one isn't necessarily that old, but next we're gonna go ahead and take a look at this second row leg room. I have the seat up front adjusted for someone of my size, being 6'3" with longer legs. So let's see how I sit back here. So not bad. My knees are just barely touching the back of the seat here. And for such a small SUV, I should say, with it to be a smaller space as the QX80, pretty impressed here that I can actually fit back here. The issue I have is I just feel like I'm up high, so my knees are like going towards my stomach almost, just by how the interior space is made. But down here we have our rear AC controls. Those are automatic. We can set that auto mode there and then turn it off by adjusting the fan speed, and then we can toggle temperature here. And we do have a USB-A charge port right in there. And then this middle seat fold down, little storage pocket here, and then cup holders here. And it's just a little dark in here because these windows are tinted, but I actually like the tint. It's just not the best for filming. Grab handle here. We can hang either one plastic hook or a couple metal hooks there. But let's make our way towards the back. Fuel cap there. And then as we come around to the back end here, we do get LED brake lights, but the back end seems to have held up a little nicer than the front end. We just have a few things we've bumped into here as well. And I want to give a huge shout out to Chevrolet Buick GMC of Murfreesboro for allowing me to review this today. I'll leave a link below in the description. So that power lift gate's a little slow, but it's fine. And we can fold these down, and then you can pull this to get the headrest to fold flat. And then that's your space compared to when the seats are up. So you get a lot more space with that third row down. And it might be better, honestly, because there's not too much space behind that. Unless you have smaller kids, they can fit back there, no problem. 12 volt there. And then storage here. And then we do get that 13 speaker Bose sound system. But as you come around to the rear passenger side, if you ever want to fold the seat down, that'll fold flat there. And you can see the difference again with the space. And then pretty easy to just slap it back into place. And if you need to get the third row, just pull this up and then this will slide. And then you can get to the back relatively easily. And I like how that folds in. So that's pretty cool. And then you can just lock everything back up. As you can see, that tint is pretty dark. It's good for a hot day like today, but it's probably hard to see out of at night. But there's a front passenger seat. And then I don't know what happened here, but that's really the only wear I see on this seat. This seat looks almost brand new, except for that little spot there. But we do have the netted pocket on the side here. And then I got to put that back up. I don't know what I just did, but glove compartment's huge. And then as we come around to the front again, let's just take a quick look in the engine bay. And there's that 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6, mostly covered up here. But let's go ahead and hop in the driver's seat. So leather wrap steering wheel here. Still seems to be in pretty good shape. Not a lot of nicks or anything like that. But over here to the radio, I have it on the XM radio now, but we can go through our sources either here, or I like that you have it up top there as well. So FM, XM, AM, we have a CD drive, iPod, and then Bluetooth audio. And then we have several different presets that we can go through. So if you ever want to change a preset or set one, you can just store it there by holding one of those. And you have 36 different presets you can set up. And there's the backup camera there. We do get that 360 monitor with this setup. Then the guidelines follow you as you turn the steering wheel. And down here we have our dual zone automatic climate control, so we can adjust temperature here, fan direction here, and it'll show you that bottom there when that kind of strip pops up. And then same thing for fan speed. When all that's adjusted, it'll show you there. And then we can turn the dual zone on and off. And then we do have a navigation system here, so that shows you the system. And then you hit the Navi button here if you want to type in an address. So you can type in a street address, point of interest, set up a home destination, so on and so forth. And then we do have a few apps here. There's the info. And then here are all of our settings. So for Bluetooth, you just click that. If you want to connect a device, just add a new one. And then you just start the pairing process from your phone. It walks you through it. And then we can set the clock here. Audio settings, if you ever want to adjust the sound. And let me say, the Bose sound systems and the Infinitis are some of the best systems that I've experienced. Just in general. Love those. I had a QX, what was it, 19 QX60, and that Bose sound system, that was the best thing about that car. And then we can do the, hit that climate button and we can toggle that AC and all of that there. And we have a few other buttons here, but you use this basically to scroll through the screen when something's set up. And then down here we have a CD drive, so we can adjust volume here, and then we can click to turn the audio off. And then this is a tune knob, eject button. And then for all of our audio, if you just want to use the buttons, you can go through the aux, the USB, and then the Bluetooth using this media. Disk drive, use a CD, and then hit that radio button. You can go through XM, AM, and FM. 12 volt down in here, storage pocket there. And then for the shifter, pull this lever, reverse, neutral drive, then you can come over here and you kind of get fake shifts in the manual mode here, and it'll show you what gear you're in, where it says 1M right there by the odometer. And then we have our heated seat controls here. So it's about 6 different settings for the heat there for both sides. And then here we can toggle our snow mode, eco mode, standard, and then sport mode. And then tons of space here in the center console. We do have an SD card reader. That's what runs that navigation. 2 USB-A ports, a video and audio in cord there, and then a 12 volt. And then we have an upper tray right there. So I like how they set that up. We do have a power sunroof, sunglasses holder. So we can either tilt or slide this back. And it does go all the way back, so that's helpful. Not too big though. And there's a view of the back seat from up here. And then back to the steering wheel, blinkers, and then off, auto, corners, and then full on low beams. Then we can toggle our fog lights there. And then when the lights are on, high beams, then we can flash there. And then right in here, we can adjust the gauge cluster brightness. And then we have our automatic windshield wipers here. So that's one time. This is off, auto, low, high. We can adjust how sensitive the auto wipers are here. And then we have our rear wiper there. So intermittent on, and then pull back for the rear wiper fluid, push up for the front wiper fluid. And this trip reset button, we can go through the A and B trips and then just hold to reset one. And then for the gauge cluster, this is what you use to go through your sub menus. And then when you're within those, I should say when it's available, like in your settings here, you can use this as a scroll bar and go through all of that. So if you want to change your units, just go through there and you can change the tire pressure, temperature, all of that. And then volume controls here, source controls, voice recognition, Bluetooth button, and then we just have our standard cruise here so we can set, resume, cancel that there. And then our push button start, then the key fob with remote start. But next, let's go ahead and take this 2019 QX60 Luxe out on the road for a test drive. So starting the test drive in this QX60, this is pretty much the Infiniti Pathfinder, if you will, just in terms of the space, the platform, all of that. This is just a more luxurious variant of that. So you do have that V6 with the CVT. And as much as I don't like CVTs, specifically from Nissan Infiniti, this makes a lot more sense than the QX50 in my opinion, having that turbocharged 4-cylinder with the CVT, because this just, you have the VC turbo with the QX50s, and I feel like every time you put your foot down in that vehicle, you don't know what you're gonna get. But I do like the pull that you get from the CVT because you don't have to worry about shift points necessarily. But we're gonna see how the manual mode does. We'll give it some throttle here. So pretty fast, again, for a naturally aspirated V6, and then just having those shift points helps. Or I should say not having those shift points helps with the acceleration. Now, ride quality coming down the interstate here is pretty decent, relatively smooth, and wind noise is not as intrusive as some of the competition, I think. But I actually like the ride because I can feel the steering wheel. The steering is not loose, but it's not tight either. It's pretty standard. And even though the ride is really smooth, I still feel like I can feel the road overall. And it's hard to get a vehicle that fits there perfectly, so that's impressive. Now with this QX60 having almost 57,000 miles and it being a 2019, I don't think there's any warranty left. There might be a little bit of powertrain left. I think Nissan might have 5 years, 60,000, or Infiniti. I can't really tell, but the CVTs can be a problem if you do not maintain them, and even then you can have issues out of them. But I mean, I see plenty of Nissans, Infinitis with the CVTs getting 150, 180,000 miles. I have a Pacifica hybrid that has that eCVT, and I just got a letter in the mail saying I have a 10-year unlimited mileage warranty on the transmission now, so that's pretty much the only issue I was concerned about with that. Just because the transmissions can be expensive, because they're not as simple as just getting a 6-speed automatic or a 4-speed automatic, getting a rebuild kit for that. There's a lot more that goes into them. But again, I think if you keep these maintained, just like keeping the oil change in your vehicle, you'll get a lot more out of them than if you just hope for the best. But everything else about this, I love. Again, the ride quality is good. It's solid, but still smooth. The acceleration with the CVT is pretty good. I'd say it's exceptional for the people in this segment. Now, it's not gonna be a Turbo 6 that you might get in a Mercedes AMG or something like that, but you're not paying that price for this either. And of course, the electronics, things of that nature. If you're gonna hold on to the vehicle for a long time, I certainly recommend getting an extended warranty that covers your electronics, covers your powertrain, things like that. But if you're handy or you have a guy that can fix stuff pretty easily, maybe you wanna take that risk, knowing you're only gonna keep it for a certain amount of miles. But I will say the only thing this is missing for me is probably cooled seats and adaptive cruise, but you have your regular cruise control. The AC in here, it was great. As soon as I got in the vehicle, and it's been sitting for a minute, as soon as I started up, within about 10 seconds, the air was blowing cold. So I don't know many cars that you can get that done in, especially when it's hot out and it's been sitting. But if you're in the market for something like this, it's a pretty solid option, especially if you're in that Pathfinder, maybe Traverse, Ford Explorer market. So this will bring me to the end of my review of the 2019 Infiniti QX60.